guys, Mr. Shockwave King back here again, and yes, subtitle video. In my opinion, it's a video that doesn't need to be made, but it's just a fun discussion to me. And that question is: was Ippo Makauchi, for ever since his Takamura said he's weaker, was he ever broken? And I'll say right off the bat, in my opinion, no. I say he never was. It's later confirmed by other characters. But let's get into it. Let's start off right off the bat. Before we get into how this entire ordeal started and who started to say it first, let's go into some common systems. And the only person we have living to date who's still inside Hansult Ippo, who still have character relevance, who actually recovered from the sender himself, is the one and only the one and only Nakoda. I don't think his last name. I don't think his first name is Genpachi, is it? I think it is. Yeah, I think it is like Genpachi. I could be wrong, but it's Nakoda. He was the first person in the series to ever confirm that he had the main person we can go to and compare with other characters to see what some of the symptoms of a punch drunkenness is. Now, some might say, oh, Ippo wasn't advanced enough, or he wasn't that far of a stage to get as punch drunk as Nakoda was. But the thing was, Nakoda didn't become punch drunk after one fight. Well, he only became punch drunk after the fight with Kurogama the third time. That was it. After that, he had those symptoms ever since. So there's no way to say this. It took more than one fight. No, it was one singular fight, and after that, his entire career was done. And when it refers to Ippo, some of the common traits that Nakoda had was the handshaking, the blacking out, the cold sweats, and the convulsing on the city streets, and along with some vomiting. Now there's some more extreme sides, but one we need to focus on is handshaking and anything else. So this entire ordeal of Ippo with punch drunk or not started right after Vork had his fight with Mike Elliott, and after Sendo went against Ippo. I could be wrong. It might have been a sign earlier than that, but usually, in my opinion, it started. Well, usually from what I've read, what I can remember, it started after Sendo fought Ippo in that spar, carried him across the ropes, and left him there like some used trash. And Sendo was walking out. Takamura was just like, he's weaker now, isn't he? Sendo like, nah, I just gotten stronger. And ever since then, Takamura has been the only person pushing that Ippo was punch drunk. Now, at that time, I think that was like before he fought Kojima, I believe so. Yeah, that was before he fought Kojima, and before he fought Freddy Gonzalez. And after that, after that whole spar, even Mishiba said himself that Ippo became weaker. Now, from far as you know, Nakoda went from one way to another. Just instantly. Just ever since he fought Kurogama, having the convulsions, had vomiting, he had repeated short-term memory loss. He would repeat the same phrases more than one time. He would forget totally that he done bought somebody a dress and bought Yuki the exact same dress again. So it's just one of those things where there's a lot of things to it. But when it refers to Ippo, besides from like losing his ring IQ, he's had none of that. So he fought Kojima, and he KOs him. Now he takes a monstrous left before that, but he still ended up KOing Kojima like it's nothing. That's that. It just happened. It just happened just like that. And after that, he faces off against the Mexican Death God, the Grim Reaper himself. He's going to Freddy Gonzalez. Now in that fight, he never showed any signs of, oh, he couldn't punch straight, or he couldn't do this and that, or he was hitting an opponent and he wasn't hitting them, or he dodged towards it. When he went against Freddy Gonzalez, he was fairly fine. Besides from like moving like a little bit, some might say he was like, he wasn't hitting as strong or moving as fast. He showed absolutely no signs of it. Nakoda, just like nearly instantly the next fight over, it was just, he's been like that ever since. All it takes is just one fight for Nakoda, and that's all it takes. That's literally all it takes. It takes one good fight, and you're done for. or Ippo, ever since then, and pretty much ever since then, it's just like he's been showing signs that he's been forgetting. He's been showing signs that he haven't been right. He's been showing you like these minor signs ever since he fought Gonzalez that something is wrong here. But another one of those things where it's just like, it'd be one of those things that would kill him. If you want to think that would kill Ippo, never show one. No, not kill him. If you want to think that is just like, oh, he's actually punch drunk, or he actually is not there. It's never been one of those things. Never been one of those things at all. But ever since then, we've seen that Ippo's ring IQ had been deteriorating ever since then. Now, sure, he did spend like a month out of the gym, but just want to get into some things where it's kind of iffy with the whole is Ippo punch drunk or if he wasn't. Some might say, what are you talking about? The thing is, when it purely refers to the all-new Demptero, in my personal opinion, the only reason Ippo was not able to hit Antonio with the Demptero, or sparring partner with the Demptero, or that one junior featherweight guy who's gonna fight the world champion after that, the only reason he was not connecting with the new Demptero is, number one, is he never did get used to those ankle and wrist weights at all. He never did spar with him, never did fight without him. He spent 99.9% of his time inside those ankle weights and nothing else. So if that's the case, and you're moving with all this brand new speed, how can you hit it? But you spend time getting used to ankle weights and things like that. Sure, but he never did focus on practicing and properly aiming at Demptero. It is a lot different from any other Demptero. Because instead of launching in with a left or right hook, or a person that's right in front of you, you gotta go down, you gotta drag your fist across the ground like you're doing a super smash. And while doing all that, you gotta connect up to the chin. And while doing all that, I don't see the new Demptero as, Ippo is not punch drunk and things like that. But some of the other signs is Ippo's slowly deteriorating ring IQ. Now, Ippo never did have any major signs of being punch drunk besides from some minor things after the match. So I'm like, so what do you mean by it? And it is, you remember earlier when the great Takamura went against that guy called Yajima for the Japanese title, and he was just like, he was going up the steps, and he just like, he slightly fell down. He was just like, oh, I'm just a little punch drunk. I'm just a little punch drunk. I'm fine. Besides from accumulated damage, I don't see him having any type of extreme damage from that fight. At least when they say Takamura was punch drunk, which he wasn't, in my opinion. So I just want to say that is just like, it's one of those things that does happen. It's not like never happens to nobody. It's not like it happens just one time and you're done after that. No. There are some slight signs of it afterwards. All right, it's not like it's a one deal ordeal. It's like a one deal thing where it's just like, oh, you get hit with this or that and you're done for, and there's nothing you can do about it, and it just, that's just too bad. Nah. But it's one of those things where it just, at what point do we call it accumulated damage, and at what point do we call it point? Because he was able to keep his balance. He had no type of memory loss. He was pretty much fine for a period of time, pretty much in my opinion. And besides from like some minor things that happen to boxers by default, Ippo never showed any major signs. He was never really punch drunk. He never could keep his balance. Besides from that basic case of writing, which is just, with the writing thing, you might have something there. And the reason why is, when he was doing a test by himself and trying to work on the manga with Umezawa, he was messing up. He was going over the lines. He was not able to do it. That's kind of the problem with Ippo just in general, especially after Ippo has had a match. He kind of do that every once in a while. But in this case, he's going to do it for like a while. And that just could be accumulated damage. We got to remember, it has been a long time since we've ever seen Ippo KO'd in the ring. And that monstrous left hand of Alfredo, the death god of Mexico, Gonzalez. And in fact, it comes down to one of those things is, you can be as damaged as all beliefs. You can be beat up, knocked around, or whatever. But if you're able to take all that damage and just continue on with your day and just be fine, it won't cause any major damage. But if you used to get knocked out and go unconscious, that's where you get a problem. And I think that's what also refers with Ippo, especially how Ippo trained earlier after a match than most people. That since he was knocked out in some spectacular fashion, like he was Marquez going against Manny Pacquiao, since he was knocked out like that, some of those early signs could just be post-accumulated damage or post-damage from the match. Now, the accumulated damage ended up coming in my opinion, because I do believe that Ippo was never punched drunk. There was nothing really actually wrong with him. And sure, he's one of those things where you can't, even with today's technology, you can't tell how bad CTE is on the brain unless you crack somebody's skull open and you look at it from there. Unless you can perform an autopsy, you don't know how bad the brain is. It is one of those things. But ever since Ippo has stopped fighting altogether, he has shown no signs of being punch drunk, no shaking, no conversing, no nothing. Ever since he stopped fighting altogether, Ippo has been fine. Post knockout from Antonio, he has also been fine. Able to talk, no blackouts, no conversions, no nothing. Able to talk to the great Takamura, he's been fine. And before we get to the whole Kobashi situation, it's just like, if you look at it all together, besides for like some very minor things that could be applied to just being slightly punch drunk after a match, there was nothing outright saying that Ippo was punch drunk. But the writing, I will give you some slight things of that. When he did it in front of the coach, they did point out that he was vibrating his hand so fast that it could be a case where he was messing up, but it just came out straight. But, and then like, even with that, as soon as after he fought Antonio, he was just able to color and do manga pages with Iwasawa just fine. Ever since he stopped fighting, he's been just fine, regular. And even Kobashi said himself, it's just like, it's one of those things, it's just like, if Ayami was to stop fighting, take a few months off, take a break, and let that accumulated damage just wear off, then he'd probably be able to come back as a better fighter. Or he might not. But he said with Ippo case, he truly believed that Ippo can return to the way he used to be. He can return to the ring. That's sign number one. And you had like what was that doctor who checked for like he made Ippo go to like the it was a doctor. I think like it's Doctor like Nakamuchi, and it was Naka something. It was the same doctor that Yuki tried to get Joe to go to inside Accident on Joe. They had the same doctor name. It was a Accident on Joe reference. At the same doctor, that doctor was just like, it's hard to tell, but you seem to be fine. The coach is like, you're fine. Everybody else feels saying you're fine. The only two people, cause like people like to throw this off on Kumi. Just like, the Kumi's the worst person ever. I can't stand Kumi. This and that. I don't see why she hated him, because not one time throughout the series it showed that when Kumi said or did something, it directly affected something that Ippo wanted to do. Never. That has never happened. Never. Aside from that one singular promise to stop boxing, nothing Kumi has said has stopped Ippo from doing anything to date. They want to give all the blame to the great Takamura. I remember to Kumi. What about Takamura? The first person who was calling it, the first person trying to tell the coach that Ippo can't fight anymore, the first person post Ippo match, the post Antonio match when Ippo got knocked out by another by left hand this time. Who was saying Ippo shouldn't return to the ring? Takamura. Who's been saying that Ippo should not return to the ring for the longest? Takamura. So you're gonna throw on Kumi, throw Takamura right under the same bus? Cause how does Kumi don't get a pass, but Takamura just like, it's alright. If you don't like people saying Ippo should not return to the ring, then throw them both under the bus. Cause there is pretty much nobody else who does not want Ippo to return to the ring besides from Kumi, Takamura. Because when Ippo lost the first time to Gonzalez, he was just like, don't get him all happy like that. Don't do that to the coach. Don't act like you're gonna actually do something and not deliver. I don't like that. Even tell the coach and other people inside the gym that you don't gotta worry about Ippo anymore. You don't gotta worry about them. You can just focus on me. I can hold up the gym by myself. I was doing it by myself in the early days. I can do it now. So it'd be one of those things where just besides from Takamura, besides from Kumi, and the fact that Ippo's mother has worried about his health but never said, oh, he needs to stop boxing. Besides from them, Ippo has pretty much been fine. Even Miyato had to show just like, Ippo, do you truly believe with all your heart that you're punch drunk? Do you believe this? And Ippo just gives him like some nonchalant answer and just dodge and bobs and weaves throughout the question. It's just like, all right then, all right, whatever. I'm moving on. It's funny. for the class that's known for its featherweights is destroying my wings. So yeah, pretty much we can kind of say that's the video. I don't ever believe that Ippo was ever punch drunk. Never. Because he has shown no major signs of being punch drunk. He hasn't. He never had the shaking hands. He never had the convulsions. He never had it where it was just like, oh, it was like an obvious thing. And somebody, so that's different from the 1940s technology. It should be more easier to tell. Because no, Cody was obviously was something wrong with him. He's over here dropping glasses. He's doing the repeated thing, asking the same question. Over here having convulsions and going to cold sweats. He can barely ride a bike without falling off and just having some type of convulsions on the floor. And that is immediately after the fight with that's immediately after the fight with he have a Kurogama. That's immediately, or it's like an off and on thing. Ippo has never had an off and on symptom. It would show up minorly, it's just gone, and then he get knocked out again, and then like he can still write straight, and then after that he's just fine. So, in my opinion, which way you want to write it, Ippo's been fine. He's just been regular. But that's pretty much it. I don't believe that Ippo was ever punch drunk throughout his entire career. Or what about he was able to get dropped down early in spar? He just fought somebody for that same merit that Amei must be some type of god then. Because Amei dropped Ippo right after the Saramura fight, and everybody pointed out how Ippo just got done sparring, or just got done with a major fight. Where the dude actually legitimately counted the Demtaro and had his brain bouncing all around his skull. Now there was a time where Ippo did catch a concussion board, and coach is like, it's a concussion! And Ippo is all delusional, and then he kicked it into high gear and started fighting back against Void. Besides from that, but we've seen Ippo brain rattle a few times. We've seen every character brain rattle. Well, besides from like the minor characters, I don't think we've seen him have to talk more. But it's not like it's some type of brand new thing where it's just like, my god, oh my god. We have seen Ippo get his brain rocked. Oh my god, we've never seen this before. Oh my god, Lottie. Ippo has gotten his brain rocked. We've never seen it. It's not uncommon because anytime you see any boxer in real life get chicken legs, or like they call chicken leg or spaghetti legs, every time you've seen anybody get them legs, they've gotten their brain rocked. Getting your brain rocked is not some uncommon thing, and usually boxing fans declare it as he actually got hurt in the fight. You get them chicken legs, you start dancing around the ring and tap dancing, you got your brain rocked. So yeah, to sum this up, in my opinion, Ippo was never punch drunk. Ippo was never just had any type of brain issue. I think he was fine the entire time. And like Kobashi said, besides some accumulated damage which he's never dealt with, because instead of just taking his time off, he's prone to know by everybody inside the gym. The first person after a match to be the first person back into the gym will be Ippo. So much to the point where after like he got knocked out by Alfredo Gonzalez, and he was still showing that he was like slightly messed up, the coach said they had to stop training altogether. Because Ippo's a training machine. He's a beast, he's a monster. Alright. He is Kurogama 2.0. Alright. The only person who would train harder than Ippo would be Kurogama himself. That's the only person. And I'm taking it to the extreme, which Kurogama was able to break his hands on some logs just to obtain the Tekken. But it's not Tekken 4. So, it's not like it's unusual, it's not like something we haven't seen before. But no, in my opinion, Ippo was never punch drunk. Never. And some people made like their videos saying, Hajime Ippo is over, this and that. Hajime Ippo is not over until we get Hajime no Miyata. And until that happens, it will keep on going, baby. It will keep on going, in my personal opinion. As I invade the girl's bathroom like I'm the great Takamura. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. That's pretty much my opinion about the whole idea. It's just, he was never punch drunk. There was nothing ever wrong with Ippo. Ippo has always been fine besides the accumulated damage. That is it. It is the same reason why Ayami now got a glass chin. Yeah, pretty much. Cause not like so Ayami was knocked out first by Ippo, like a clean knockout where he was just out cold and just twitching on the ground and he was just out of it. Sure, for the first time that was him, but he was able to drop down a weight class and still get another Japanese titleship go against Kobashi, and it's not like it's some type of thing we haven't seen before. So it's not like it's just these are symptoms that Ippo only gone through like that. No. Even Ippo pointed out how that down was exactly like him when he went against Antonio Guevara when Hayami just dropped out of nowhere and he was barely even hit. Or the same way Ippo was dropped after 2 jabs in sparring, but at that first sparring partner where he unleashed it was the second time he fought that sparring partner, and he was trying to practice at a Dempsero, and that's when the coach said, for 1 month you gotta get your ass out of here. You need to stop. You need to stop and take a break. That Resident Evil engine it looks so good. Not really. I can see all these pixels. But it has been born in Shockwave King. I don't know what your thoughts about this entire thing. Do you believe that Ippo Uchi was punch drunk, or ever was punch drunk, or do you just believe it like me? It was just accumulated damage. If you born in Shockwave King, I'm trying to get the hell out of this place. Let's play your yearly contest, because how can he make it? Can he do it? Can he pull off the unstoppable? Ooh, that was that's not a bad one to go into. Wow, really? I'm just running the camera if I can get out of here. Can he make it? All right. Yeah, let's see. Also, see you guys comment in the comment section down below. Do you think the Uchi was ever punch drunk? Do you? Because Takamura said it first. Takamura was always the first person to be concerned about it. It's just one of those things. It's just like, was it ever true? Sure, Takamura saw the signs early. Sure, Takamura saw what others could not, and what was able to admit the truth what others could not. But it still come down to, was he actually, was he 100% accurate? No one performed any type of autopsies, any type of detailed surgeries, no nothing on Ippo. So, it's just one of those things where just like, unless you're a doctor and able to figure out all the science yourself, unless you can crack Ippo's skull open and get the statistics for yourself. Nah, in my opinion, Ippo was never punch drunk. He's always been fine. Yes, I've been saved by a character who ruined Brad. Enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and peace.